Hi, this is Violet from Scrappy Mania, and this video is going to be very short. It's just some tips that I have learned along the way, some lessons learned. One of my lessons learned is I bought this book at Goodwill, so you don't have to buy a real expensive art journal. They're kind of pricey. And with the coupon, they do come out, the price is pretty reasonable, but still, I just want to recycle stuff. So one of my tips is to just get an old book and create pages. What you do is you just glue like 5 pages together to make it nice and thick so it will support your medium. So whatever medium you put on there, it will be able to take it. Another tip is to pull pages out. See, I pull pages out because I want to make sure that sometimes we put dimensional embellishments, like this one is a little dimensional there. It has some pop dots. These are some clay pieces that does create bulk as you layer your stuff on it. Like this one has pictures. I put some sequins, and that sequins do create a little bit of bulk. So what I am doing is that I'm just pulling pages out as I glue pages together. So I glue like 5 pages together. And another tip before I go into more about pulling the pages is that at the beginning I was just using a regular stick glue and I was gluing my pages together, and they were a little, as you can see, they were not as flat. See how these are a little more dimensional and not really stiff and flat. It does kind of warp a little bit. Now notice these. Look how nice and flat those are. So in order to get it this flat, my tip is to use gel medium. Okay? So I've been using gel medium, and then that comes to my other tip is you can buy the big gel medium. This is a 32 ounce. I got it for $16.93 at Amazon with free shipping and like $1 something for tax. So it's a lot cheaper when you buy it in bulk. So 32 ounces, I think that was pretty reasonable. My other tip that go along with that is, because it's such a big container, I do not want it to spoil. So, or dry out. Not spoil, but dry out. So then I get these little mason jars and I fill it up with my gel medium. And I make sure I label it, because if you look at the gel medium, it's similar to a gesso and you could get confused. So this is my gesso. So that brings me to my other tip. Get the big gesso, 32 ounces. I bought this one for $22, 32 ounces of gesso. And if you find them now, I never find it this big. I haven't yet found it this big, 32 ounces in like Michaels and stuff. At least at my Michaels, they have the 16 ounces and the smaller one. They don't really have the big one. But if you do find a large one like this at Michaels, use your 40% coupon. It'll be a lot cheaper than Amazon. Even if they have it at $27.99, usually it's what I've seen in some of the art stores. They sell the real big one for like 30 bucks. If you have a 40% coupon, it's a little cheaper than in Amazon, which was $22. Okay? So that's my other tip. And then also make sure you put it in, you take it out. Unless you use it all the time. Well, lately I've been using it a lot. But usually, in the past I haven't. I bought it last year. So I put it in a small little container. I label what it is. And that way it doesn't dry out on me before I finish the whole 32 ounces of the stuff. The other tip, so as you can see, is nice and flat. The other tip is when you pull pages out, it leaves that little... See how you can see where you pull the pages out? Well, my tip is go ahead and put some masking tape. I bought some masking tape at the dollar store. So this is a dollar store masking tape. Now, it's a lot thinner. It looks more like paper tape and very thin. It does peel off. So this one, so I'm going to show you a technique that's gonna make it look like this, and it will adhere very nicely. This one, I did not do that technique because I wasn't playing with it and I didn't know about it. I was just putting the masking tape there, and that's pretty much it. And it has wrinkles. It's not as good. So, and it also peels off. When I was using it, see how it kind of peels. It's not as good. And see how it breaks? It's not as good as the technique I'm going to show you in a second how to do it. So my my next tip is go ahead and put a little bit of gel medium. And another tip is I found these Betty Crocker spatulas at the dollar store. And I do have a video on the finds that I found at the dollar store. So, you know, I got this and this. These are the two instruments you're going to need to do this, the next technique that I'm going to show you. If you don't have, you know, you can use a credit card or anything like that. I happen to buy this. So you're going to put a little bit of gel medium on your spine. You can use a brush. You don't have to use a spatula like I'm using here. But I know, you know, I want to preserve my brushes. So that's why I decided to use this, because it cleans very nicely with just a wipe. So I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to take a strip of my masking tape. And we'll lay it down. And then before I really put it down, okay, I'm going to take my Betty Crocker or my little spatula or my credit card, whatever you want, and I'm going to push it in just like that, and then squeeze it out or flatten it out. So get right on the pages, so adhere to the page very well. And it really works very nicely, and look how there's no wrinkle or anything. It's just perfect. Okay? Then the next thing I did is I took some more of my gel medium, just a little bit, and I put it on the edges like that. You can probably do the same thing with decoupage. I'm just trying out the gel. I do have decoupage medium. I do not recommend the decoupage with water, you know, the homemade one that you create with Elmer's glue and water. I don't know. I do not like that very much for my pages, because when it does get wet, it reactivates. The Elmer's glue reactivate when you wet it, and it becomes sticky again, so your stuff doesn't glide. Your paint doesn't glide as well as with gel medium or with gesso. And I discovered that too, because I was seeing a lot of videos that people just did their own you know, mixture of decoupage medium and used that. But then I discovered as I was using it that it's not a good idea. And it's not a good idea when you're using paint or you're going to wet the page and reactivate it. It's okay if you're just going to use the decoupage to put, you know, a piece of paper down, and then you're going to put some on top and then leave it alone and not put any water on top. Then it'll be okay. But not for the type of mixed media that we do. It's not a good thing. So now I'm going to take my heat tool and I'm going to dry it. And another tip is you don't need a hot glue gun for mixed media. If you're not going to do embossing powder, you can use a hairdryer. Chippy old hairdryer is good enough if you don't have one of these hot tools or these tools. Okay, so now we're going to cut it. And there, see how that looks very nice? Now, let me show you the tip for making a nice flat page. Okay. Let me see. This one is nice, and I just finished this one. This one. Let's go ahead and glue these together. So another tip I want to give you is how to glue them together so you don't get any bubbles or any, so make it, you know, glue it together so it'll be nice and flat. So you're going to take your gel medium or your glue. If you want to use glue, you can use white glue for this. You can use, probably that's it, gel medium or glue. I haven't tested gesso. I guess gesso could be okay, but gesso is pretty expensive to use it as just to glue pages together. So make sure you go, and the good thing about the spatula, it really brings it all the way to the edge. I just love using my spatula. And then when you lay this down, you're going to take your little squeegee and just pull it from the center out, as you can see there. And what that does, it really glues the pages all nicely together, and it glues it nice and flat without any bubbles or anything like that. I didn't do that with this because I just discovered the technique today when I was playing. So I did not do that technique with this, and look, see how you can get like little wrinkles there? But here, see how nice and flat that is? There's no wrinkles when I did that one. Okay, so I hope you like this video with tips, and thank you for watching. Bye now.